Yo, thank you for clicking on the video. I'm Who's Mans. I just like football. I'm here to teach you the X's and O's of the game. I'm not here to teach you the glitches and the exploits and things like that. Not that there's anything wrong with that. If you guys are new, go ahead, hit the subscribe button and the bell so you never miss an upload. And let's get into it. When you think of the greatest football players of all time, who comes to mind? Personally, I think of Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Ed Reed, and Troy Polamalu, just to name a few. There's a common theme among these players. They were all cerebral. They could break down plays before the snap. They would sometimes take themselves out of plays to appear that they were, in a different assignment, only to fly to their real assignment once the ball is snapped and make a big play. One play Peyton Manning recalls against Ed Reed. At the start of the play, Reed turned to the right and sprinted upfield. Peyton read this and thought he had the goal ball on the opposite sideline. So as he's throwing the ball, Ed turns back, makes a beeline to the sideline, and intercepts the ball. To this day, Peyton says this is one of the greatest plays he's ever seen a defender make. Of course, we all know the Sheriff consistently making calls at the line of scrimmage, yelling Omaha. Peyton always seemed to know what the defense was doing, which allowed him to punish him at a high level. So how did these players always seem to know what was going on? Yes, they were paid professionals and it's their full-time job, but if that were the only reason, then every NFL player would possess this elite football intellect. What truly set them apart was their deep understanding of the game. Now, I don't have social media anymore because it just was not good for my mental health, and I feel like it was pulling me away from my time with God. Thanks to the old man trying Discord, I still came across a thread on X where someone said they were using a team like UAB on the road at the Ohio State, I should say, and it was too hard and unrealistic. I've also seen YouTube videos where people are confused about how others consistently beat the meta plays with what they call fluke. I've said it many times on this channel that I love football, especially the X's and O's. I aspire to become a coach one day, and by the grace of God, I got to coach last year. So when I hear popular streamers talk about gameplay, I sometimes get confused. On one hand, they say they want realistic gameplay, but when the realistic things happen, they complain. I'll hear phrases like, if this happens, then that should happen all the time, or the blocking is bad because on this play or this other two plays, the tackle missed a guy. I'm not going to blindly say this game is perfect. I understand that no man-made thing will ever be. There's only one who is perfect in this universe. That's God. That's Jesus Christ. With that said, I also understand that not everyone playing this video game is trying to be the next Sirianni or Bill Belichick. Most people just want to log on and have fun. So to the ones who log on to be competitive but complain that cover zero doesn't bag every play, or maybe their labbed up zone coverage doesn't stop everything, or that their money play doesn't always work, or that the offensive line doesn't block perfectly every time, I don't think they truly want a realistic game. I think they'd prefer something like NFL Street or Blitz. Those are fun, but they're not simulation. Madden and college football are sim games. If you want to get the most out of them, especially with the new features, they'll reward you for understanding the fundamentals of football. So I've also seen people say, I played hard flat, so the defender should always jump the bubble screen. But you have to understand the defensive concept you're running. That's why it may not jump the bubble. Where I see people come out and dime 2-3-6 and wonder why they can't stop the run. You don't need to really be a football genius to understand why dime 2-3-6 is a bad call against 12 or 13 personnel. You got too many small defenders and not enough size to disrupt the multiple tight ends and extra blockers. Sure, sometimes that extra safety can sneak through and make a big play. But if you're really relying on that every single down, you're going to get gashed. Maybe it works because your opponent doesn't run much or they're always in 11 personnel, but once you face someone who really knows what they're doing, you're in trouble. And the gameplay running in the background, I'm currently learning to veer and shoot. I don't have a strong understanding of the philosophy yet, but I do have a slightly above average understanding of football. I've spent hours watching all 22 footage and coaching clinics. I've asked coaches in my area and in my church about the whys and the hows. That learning process has helped me figure out what to do on the field. Because of that, some of the people accuse me of glitching or getting lucky, but I can assure you I'm way too competitive to cheat. I'd rather beat you fair and square, knowing I did everything the right way, and there's nothing more satisfying than proving you're better than a player with no excuses. I don't care if it takes me 10 years of training, as long as I step on the field locked in, I'll be ready. And if I lose, I'm not hurt. I gave it my all. That just means I have more work to do. It's the same thing with also studying the Bible and living my life. I may fail sometimes, but I know God has put me in a position to learn and grow. I'll study harder, pray more, and put action behind what I've learned. So what am I trying to say? I think a lot of these streamers and content creators are complaining because they're being forced to learn the game. And look, yeah, you paid for the game. Play it how you want to. I'm not your maker. I'm not your dad. I'm not the tax guy telling you this is how you should play the game so you can get the most out of your money, right? I'm also not going to say this game is flawless. It definitely has its issues. But if you take the time to learn football, you'll be better equipped to spot what's realistic and what's broken. Stadium Pulse. Go watch the SMU versus Penn State playoff game last year. SMU had trouble getting plays in. Their offense wasn't the same as it was at home. It's just a part of football. I hope that the more you watch videos from me, my buddy Subtonic, or creators like Coach Mackey and Kurt Benkert, you'll understand that seeking the knowledge can help you figure out the whys. And once you understand the whys, you'll be much harder to stop. I understand. You had a guy open for a touchdown and the quarterback missed the throw. Stuff happens, all right? But understanding that ratings actually matter can change how you see it. That 78 overall quarterback, he's probably not going to be successful throwing a ball 40 times a game like an 87 overall quarterback would. That speedy cornerback with a 70 overall rating, he's going to struggle even against a slower wide receiver who's rated at 88. These things happen. It's just how the game works. So maybe instead of playing an aggressive cover zero defense with everyone on the line of scrimmage against someone like Nick Harbor, you should probably rethink your approach. The cornerback, who's both undersized and not nearly as fast, is going to get burned probably 90% of the time. All someone has to do is understand, I just need a little bit of time. Maybe they send in a tight end to block. Maybe they keep the running back in the block. But your safeties are not going to get back behind Nick Harbor before Nick Harbor does. He's too fast. There are other options. You got cover 2 zone and even features that let you place your safeties back 25 or even 32 yards now. This is exactly what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. They backed their safeties up to contain Tyreek Hill. Kansas City had no answer for it, and they were forced to dink and dunk their way down the field. In the past, when teams played against guys like Megatron or Randy Moss, they double teamed and even sometimes triple teamed them. It forced the quarterbacks to look elsewhere. That didn't always work. There's so many different ways to apply pressure without sending a cover zero blitz. I'm not saying to stop sending them entirely, but once your opponent catches on to your personnel and your go-to plays and they know how to adjust, do you have something to counter their counter? I honestly don't think most people do. That's why every year at the start of the new cycle, you hear things like, I got to find my new team and then I got to build my new scheme. But here's the thing. Also, offensive coordinators don't rebuild their offense from scratch every single year. They build on top of what they already know. They adjust based on personnel, maybe experience, but the core identity stays the same. You can do the same thing in these games. When you learn football concepts, you can stick to your bread and butter, then slowly add or take things away based on how it works. I challenge you, actually learn the X's and O's, then come back to the game. I think you'll realize it has way more to offer than just 1 or 2 go-to formations on the offense and defense and a handful of plays. They'd added over 1,300 new plays, and a lot of them are incredible. Just go look for them. The greats, they valued knowledge. One of the wisest and wealthiest men to ever live wrote an entire book about it. Learning, expanding your mind, consulting with God the Father. It helps you understand why things happen the way they do. It helps you grow, and it gives you the confidence to take those big shots. Not as a risky move, but because now you know it's not a gamble anymore. You just had to learn. I'm still learning every single day. I've got a long way to go in football, and I've got a long way to go in studying the Bible. I constantly ask questions. I research. I try to grow my vocabulary. One day that Hail Mary, it'll look like an ordinary check down. But for now, I'll just stay in the book. Thank you for watching, and God bless.